I'm Diana Felsen with NewsNation. I'm joined by Arick Fudali, who represents two accusers, Diddy accusers, in civil cases. You have been in the courtroom today as Cassie, Sean Combs' ex-partner of roughly 10 years, is speaking about what she says she endured during the relationship. Can you tell us what her testimony is like witnessing firsthand?
Yeah, I mean, so I can sort of speak for myself watching as someone who has represented a lot of alleged victims of sexual abuse, of sexual assault, of violence, domestic violence. And I can say that it is very difficult for accusers to talk about these things, not just talk about them one-on-one, talk about them with a therapist, talk about them with an attorney, but to talk about them in front of a judge, in front of a jury, in front of a packed courthouse, in front of video cameras, are being broadcast to other courtrooms because so many people are here to watch. I understand how difficult that can be and what the bravery it takes to do that. I can also say that the courtroom, the people in the courtroom and in the overflow rooms have an aura of sadness listening to the testimony. There's been a recounting of some violence. There's been recounting of sexual acts. There's been recounting of trauma. So it's really just sort of an aura of sadness in the courtroom for everyone listening to the testimony.
Now, this is the prosecution's witness. She still has to go through a cross-examination. I spoke with someone yesterday with legal insight, an expert who deals with women's rights and sexual abuses cases. And they said that cross-examination is where the prosecution's case can be made or broken. What do you think of that statement?
Well, generally, right, cross-examination is very important. Direct examination is also important because that's what gives the opportunity for the prosecution to really set the groundwork for the case. We heard from two witnesses before Cassie, but Cassie, of course, is Ms. Ventura, is the first witness who's really talking about more of the real substance of the prosecution's allegations. But so now, while this was the prosecution's first chance to really lay out their case with a witness, this is now the defense's first chance to really establish their defenses and establish their attempts to undermine the prosecution's points and evidence. So it is certainly, this first cross-examination is always a very important aspect of any jury trial.
The video of Combs attacking Cassie was released. That was also shown to the jurors. How can that video impact this case?
Well, we've all sort of seen that video, and I assume you're referring to the Intercontinental Hotel video that was released prior to the trial. And we've seen, and as was discussed, that was a big topic of conversation for a lot of the potential jurors as to whether they'd seen that video, as to whether seeing that video prior to this trial is going to make it so that they can't be impartial, they can't be unbiased because of the nature of that video. So certainly that video is what was one of the first things that was presented on the first day of evidence, opening statements, and one of the first witnesses. In fact, the first witness presented by the prosecution got in that video for the jury to see. So of course it is an important aspect of this case for the prosecution.
In terms of the argument, we know that the defense is looking to say that this was not coercion. This was a consensual relationship that had ups and downs, and that Sean Combs is indeed a domestic abuser, but he's not a sex trafficker. Right now, with how the prosecution is questioning Cassie, is the prosecution undermining the defense's strategy that this was a consenting relationship?
So due to the local rules, I can't really comment on what the strategy is or how that strategy was employed during Ms. Ventura's testimony. What I can say is what I observed, which is that the prosecution went very sort of methodically through Ms. Ventura's allegations, text message by text message, picture by picture, encounter by encounter, incident by incident, and gave her the opportunity to tell her story.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.